Chapter 4, what we're going to discuss is how we can get our center of mass off our right side onto our left. In order for this to happen, what we need to see is our skeletal position change. Here is a diagram that shows how our skeletal position needs to change in order for us to correctly get our center of mass onto our left. We're going to add in some terminology now so this all makes sense with the diagrams, because you can see left stance and right stance and you may be thinking, what does that mean? If you want to write this down on a piece of paper or on your notes, please don't hesitate. And if you need to pause the video at any stage, please do so, because sometimes you need to just stop for a second, reflect on the information, and then it's just going to be able to be interpreted better. When we walk, the leg that is on the ground is in stance. Think of the stance leg as the one that's compressing. The leg swinging forward in the air is in swing, which is the side that's decompressing. Our right side often gets stuck in stance and our left remains in swing, even when we're standing on our left leg. I know this may sound confusing, but let me show you a practical example. When a muscle contracts, it moves our skeleton. When my bicep contracts, my radius and my ulna are moving closer towards my humerus bone. For our body to truly be in left stance, the muscles responsible for placing us in the position need to contract accordingly. Before we go further down this rabbit hole, I'm going to show you a photo of me as a 13-year-old. To the naked eye, someone may just see a kid with some cool Bonds undies and train tracks. But when we look at this with the lens of my skeletal position, or you could say posture, we can see noticeable differences in my right and left side. Look at the sheer difference in size with my left and right pec. My right pec is considerably smaller than my left. You can also see how I have a more depressed right shoulder, but more flared left rib cage. Now we can tie this into the photo I was showing before. My flared left rib cage is showing external rotation, and the better development of my right abdominal wall shows internal rotation. I believe showing this photo of myself gives a real life example of how the asymmetry of our bodies can be physically seen within someone's posture and how quickly this bias to the right sets in. The less ability we have to shift our center of mass, the more bias we are going to become to the right, and the more compensations we will have to integrate. This lack of reciprocal activity can be understood by the fact that my skeletal position would not have changed when I was on my left leg. This will give you a visual example of what I mean. Instead of my center of mass shifting from side to side, it just stays on the right. The skeleton cannot move out of a certain position as the muscle that is responsible for changing it can't be facilitated or, in simple terms, engaged. Within the next chapter, we are going to discuss the terms of facilitation, inhibition, and neutrality. If we can wrap our heads around these three terms, I can guarantee you're going to completely change your perspective on how you approach your training or how you approach getting the best possible rehabilitation for whatever issue you may be experiencing. I'll see you in the next one. If you found value in this chapter, or you can at least take the first step to finally breaking down the root cause of your pain, there's someone else that would feel the same way too. For the 2 seconds it takes to show this to a friend or family in exchange for the years it took me to make this as clean and efficient as it was, this is the best way to give back within this community. And it would mean the absolute world to me, because everyone deserves to know this about their own body. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next chapter.